Hi, and welcome back to Genshin Impact. Today, we are going to be checking out Sayu. I have been trying to level up this character for millennia, and oh my god, Veritas and Veneer just so lucky with the Elemental Mastery artifacts. Love it! Anyways, today I want to give some much needed attention to Sayu, Lily Pichu, in a way. This character is one of the most undervalued characters in the entirety of Genshin. She does one thing that branches off into like four. Anyways, she is one of the best healers in the entire game and support characters in the game, kind of aided by a certain kind of artifact. I am very curious if you can kind of gamify the system. We're not going to be trying that in this video. I got no time or reason to do that, but maybe in the future we'll try it. But ladies and gentlemen, why is Sayu so good? Well, first of all, this is something that everyone points out, which is one of her positives, but basically she has her E, puts her in a ball, and just fully sends Sayu. Basically, she just runs, she doesn't consume any stamina, but yet she moves in the same sprint speed that you actually possess, and you can just exit this quicker if you just jump. But you guys can see that we don't have any stamina being burnt. Now, if you start to run when you don't have that much stamina, you do not recover stamina within her ult. You guys can see it just kind of freezes there. So that's amazing for Sayu. So yes, you can just traverse the map incredibly quickly, faster than Mona or anybody like that, and also not dip into your stamina, which is quite nice. So that's just the first aspect of Sayu that everybody knows and talks too much about. Calling her a taxi and whatnot, she's, I think, personally more than that. But I will say that Sayu does become significantly better as you unlock your constellations, and Sayu to me has some of the funnest constellations in the game, bar none really. I don't know many that kind of get close to this. But that does not mean that this defines how Sayu works. It just drastically scales her up. I think if you got Sayu on a whim and you're looking for a support, again, if you have Bennett, level up Bennett, but then it's whatever your second support is. Dione is really good too, but I don't know. In a lot of cases, maybe because I've used Dione to death, I actually prefer Sayu because of her debuffing and potential damage options. But I also have Sayu very high constellations. I also have Dione very constellations, so it's just some characters don't use Elemental Mastery too well. Anywho, or at least the characters that I fancy. Now, before we explain constellations, let me talk to you guys about her ult. Her ult, to me, is an absolute blast and would be insane if it could move, but it can't. So what this does, puts down a little teddy bear punching bag kind of thing that you see when you're a kid, and it starts spewing out animo and healing you in a pretty decent radius. This thing could also kind of sort of be moved, but I digress. The point being is this thing is going to constantly propel damage out. Now, if you're below a certain HP threshold, essentially 70%, it'll start healing you. And if you're above that, it'll start dealing damage. Now, if you have Constellation 1, you're going to be able to do both of these at the same time, so it kind of becomes irrelevant, that negation. But it also does animo damage, and it scales off of Sayu's base attack. But if you have certain things, such as constellations with her, it changes that to Elemental Mastery. And if you guys know Animo tremendously benefits from things like Swirl and all of those things, skyrocketing your damage to a sense. Now, with that being said, though, you do need a lot of Elemental Mastery, usually to increase the scaling amount of it, just because Elemental Mastery can be found in your weapon and 3 of your artifacts. So they need to scale up those numbers higher, but it's also really hard to get all 3 of those things in the perfect alignment. So her first constellation, again, takes off the limitation. Second constellation is kind of cool. It lets you, kick hard, essentially, but her dash is really just made to get particles back, but you sure have a little more damage on top. Scaling, and then this one. This one, people don't talk enough about, but Sayu recovers 1.2 energy every single time she detonates a swirl. Now, this does not mean that Sayu's ult gets a tick every single time. No, it produces an animo thing that shoots out into the air. So if you have another animo character on your team, or any other character, it's just going to be less potent, the particle generation, but every 2 seconds you're getting energy. Every 2 seconds. Energy. If you happen to have animo characters, they're always going to have their ult. But even still, this is just super nice for other characters because you're making slow ground constantly over 2 seconds. And in instances like Spiral Abyss, where fights go pretty long, or can go pretty long, this is amazing, giving you tons of energy constantly, scaling. And then this is the big Pooba. This is the one where they kind of get silly. This is what makes her kit so fun to me. But it reworks her to basically say, Sayu is kind of half built for you want maybe attack, you want some other stuff. But now it's no, you just want Elemental Mastery. Elemental Mastery, Elemental Mastery, and Elemental Mastery again is the main thing that you really, really want from Sayu. The reason why is because this will increase your mascot's damage, your alt's damage, and also increase your healing by a whole hell of a lot, to where you can regenerate health like crazy. The only thing, there's one slight problem with Sayu, which to me I think cannibalizes most of her kit, but you guys can see that the duration of your alt is on 12 seconds, and the cooldown is 20 seconds. So it's quite a bit of cooldown, unfortunately. Also, it's cost quite a bit to activate, but even still, it's still pretty damn good. Especially with this just scaling. If you get her Constellation 6, she's just scaling 3 extra levels, and that's a lot of extra damage just coming from her scaling itself. But let's stop speculating and actually go see if Sayu can hold her own. So let's go to Spiral Abyss. I haven't done it yet. God help me. I hate this fucking thing. I know a lot of people love Spiral Abyss, but I fucking hate it. Now, Sayu, because she has 80% energy cost, works really well with Raiden Shogun. Also, Raiden Shogun always applies like an electric application to her kit, essentially. Let's go with HP. I want to get Elemental Mastery because that would help me out a little bit in showcasing this, but nah, let's just go with HP. Yes, and because Raiden Shogun has her E, which always basically activates whenever something hits, that's going to constantly allow Sayu to detonate swirls constantly, so it's quite good. So we're going to actually do this. We're going to throw down Bennett's ult, just get some better scaling. We're going to do this. We're going to throw down Sayu. We're going to kick, because that's going to give us particles. We're going to do this. And also, okay, we're just trying to see what the thing did. 30k. 30k. Also, it's more than 30k though, because the Raiden Shogun is doing things where she's giving her like her E, which Sayu is being able to dip into. Anyways, also I always find Sayu has an easy time generating particles, like we're just about there. I don't have any Elemental Mastery really built on her besides her weapon. I think Sayu's about to have her ult too. Yeah, just right here. Every time we do a swirl, we're gonna get stuff. Okay, so let's run this back again. This time, let's just do this, and then this. Okay. 5k damage. Everything's dying also. You don't need to do a lot of damage. 5k. Also, we're doing 4k really. But yeah, we're doing basically 10k in combination with Ball or Raiden Shogun. We're gonna kick. We're gonna do this. And you guys are gonna see, this is actually perfect. Keep healing them up. Healing them up. 3k, but with I, it's doing more than that. 3k, 1000k. Also, we're fully healed. So, some of y'all might be like, GRINN, that's nothing. What are we doing? What are we doing? That's like, what, 10k with Raiden Shogun swirling her stuff, essentially? That's not that much at all. What are we talking about? Guys. I can't show you. My Sayu has not even remotely, if you can get like almost 90 or 80, 800 or 900 Elemental Mastery with your characters. I unfortunately only have 60 or something. Nothing. And I don't have the greatest artifacts in general. I'll show you guys my artifacts for Sayu in a minute. Not good. So the fact that, okay, yes, she's not doing high damage. She can eventually hit, I think I've seen the highest, like 12 to 13 per dot. But the thing that's also insane, guys, is that she's healing you like crazy. In fact, let me try to take some damage. Also, if you've ever questioned that Genshin's a hard game, just stand still and get hit for a couple times. Okay, so also the one thing I didn't explain about Sayu though is every single time you get double healing. So you get scaling on your ult, but you also, every time you activate a swirl, you're getting healing as well. And Bennett has a shit ton of health, so if he can heal fast, everything can heal fast, alright? So we're gonna do one of these, we're gonna do this, and then we're gonna switch to Bennett, and we're gonna try to heal up. So check out all of our people's healing. 2k right there. Bennett's fully healed up. Let's heal Sayu up. Sayu's almost fully healed up. Well, okay, now everyone else is almost basically fully healed up. Yeah, almost everybody is maxed out. If we want to get some of our ult back fast, we can just use Raiden Shogun. Again, if you had better stats, I have no substats. If you had even just a little bit of substats into energy recharge or anything like that, you'd be good to go. I don't have any of that. None, nada, nothing at all. All right, let's do this, Sayu, and then Shangling. Because the thing that you're not seeing also is that Sayu actually has Veridescent Veneer on, which is basically weakening enemies. So you guys again could be like, oh, it's 5,000 damage. Yeah, she heals like you all the time. Everyone's basically max health, but it doesn't matter because what do you call it? 5k ain't good enough, even if you're able to heal for it. Bennett does too many good things. How the hell can you even argue this? Well, how I can argue this is because she's also using Veridescent Veneer, which is weakening enemies by 40% to whatever elemental swirl you do, and unlike Venti, who gets his swirl basically dominated instantly, Sayu doesn't need to do that. Sayu constantly hits with a non-corruptible swirl, essentially, which can basically make it so that anytime you hit an enemy with fire or electro or whatever, they are going to be weakened to that element, so it's super easy to make sure you're getting Veridescent Veneer to proc properly. So this person's hella weak to Electro right now because of Veridescent Veneers. This person's going to be hella weak to Electro too because he's also getting swirled. So basically my Katana Slash will do even more damage, as you guys can see. Now, let's leave. So there's a couple things I want to talk to you guys about. Again, first of all, let me just show you my absolute ass. Just completely the worst Sayu ever. She has 600 Elemental Mastery. This is low. Big time low. If you have Kazuha, you can get wild high mastery, Elemental Mastery specifically. Because he has a weapon that's a free-to-play weapon that's specifically Elemental Mastery gaining, which is awesome. You also, my artifacts, this is the thing that'll kill me. Check this out. This is like some of the worst artifacts you can get. This one's the only one that's moderately okay, but we got HP there. We got a little bit of energy recharge, but we got a shit ton of Elemental Mastery, not bad. The attack percent is good. The skills that you're going to want to look out for, by the way, with Sayu is energy recharge, well, Elemental Mastery first, energy recharge, and attack. The reason why is because attack percent scales up your healing as well. But yeah, those are the three stats, weirdly, that are to her benefit. You don't really want things like critical rate or critical damage because swirling an enemy doesn't actually crit. That's why Venti, you don't need crit. That's why Kazuha, you don't need crit either. Swirls can't crit. So you're just looking for a shit ton of Elemental Mastery, ways to get your ult back faster that provides you with tons of anima output. And of course, attack percent if they scale off of that. Anyways, so this one's okay. This one, awful. We got 16 energy recharge. It's okay. But mostly, we got no Elemental Mastery, no attack. Awful. This is where it starts getting real grimace. So yes, we have an Elemental Mastery piece, but the HP, attack, everything is just shit. It's just so shit. We also have this. Energy recharge, attack percent, critical damage. Why do we have critical damage there? It's awful. Attack percent is not the worst, but it's the only one good stat in there besides energy recharge. But critical rate is just useless to me. Again, we got defense. This is the worst possible outcome for this possible, okay? Bad. Very bad. We were still doing 5K and we don't even have our talent leveled up, like fully leveled up, I don't think. We have it close. Yeah, no, we don't even have fully leveled up. Because I don't have, also Sayu's level 70, so her scaling doesn't go up. When you level her up, she does get better scaling in general. I think she scales off of, I think she scales off of attack percent or Elemental Mastery, so she gets even more if you were to fully level her up. And swirl damage is based off of you having a higher level. So like 90ing Venti, 90ing Kazuha, 90ing Sayu provides a benefit because you're not after stats like critical rate. You're after stats that are scaling your Elemental Mastery even higher, and your level does that. So that's super huge. But you guys might say, Grin, what are we doing? What are you like? Why are you just showing us your half-baked Sayu? Because she does the job she needs to do. I don't ever die. The enemies are constantly weaker. So yes, she's not buffing my damage outright. She's doing her own damage, which is nice, constantly. And she's swirling elements constantly. The only reason why I'm making this video is because in the nightmarish hell of me farming for the husk set for our boy Ito and Garu and everybody else, there lies a small bit of hope, which is essentially this. I have gotten thousands of this type, okay? I'm not sure if this can have any benefit at all, but we'll learn today. So I wanted to just slap on, I just want to see how this in practice works, okay? Oh, hi guys, me here in post and or in editing. So, just to quickly recap before we get into the speculative ocean-hued clam, which can work, although there's some limitations, but I can't wait to show you guys that in another video. But essentially, just to recap why Sayu is so good and why I don't think she gets enough credits, is one, with the weirdness of her kit, she actually heals your entire team because of like ranges, and when you heal someone, it shares and links healing, and you gain 20% of that healing. So it's actually, if you have constellations for her, she does heal like a crazy amount. Now, I will admit her attack is always never that great. I mean, again, if you fully send her, she gets around 11 to 12k, and if you do that to just about anybody else, you're going to get a lot more out of it. But again, what makes Sayu amazing is her mass healing, her swirling, and her getting benefits from swirling by Veritas and Veneer, which is weakening enemies, and her being able to instance and not completely be overwhelmed by different elemental application and swirling getting dominated, I guess. It's kind of hard to explain, but anyways. Not only that, but you're getting a movement ability, you're getting a great way to get stamina back, you're also healing a ton, and you're also healing your team in co-op, which is also fantastic. And you're regenerating a crazy amount of particles for all of your team if you do have other high cost animo alt characters, similar to Xiao and whatnot. Also, she's great to play with Xiao, because Xiao can produce a shit ton of particles for his team, as well as, as long as you're in this huge area, whereas Xiao kind of suffers from pushing enemies out. Boom, bam, here we go. You are good to go. Anywho, ladies and gentlemen, I think Sayu is absolutely cripplingly underrated, and I hate it. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is nuts. Okay, so the sea foam is detonating for like what essentially is 12 to 19k. These are the artifacts that I gave Sayu. Just in case you're wondering, I did not level these up. They're just flat, and we're doing 17k. Like, what? What's happening? Anyways, I might be missing something, but I do think there's potential here, especially if you have Constellation 6. I think that's going to be the catalyst of this video maybe working out. But essentially, Sayu was able to double dip, especially in the instance that I just keep showing you guys. We had full HP. It's not like we had to recover HP within that weird thing, because Sayu has this secondary skill that scales up your healing by 300, but it's based off a percentage of how much elemental mastery you have. So the more elemental mastery you have, the more healing you're going to do if you have Constellation 6 from your alt, and the even more healing you're going to do because it's increasing that swirl detonation heal. So you're able to double dip into both of those. So again, just doing 19 damage every 3 or so seconds sounds pretty legit. Anyways, can't wait to see if this bears fruit in some way. I just need to level up these artifacts and get a couple more elemental mastery ones specifically for Sayu. But again, all of the things you just seen had no investment level up at all. No attack percent gain. It was all level 0 of the clam set. I was just trying to see how it would work. And it worked. 19k damage drop without any investment. So yeah, hopefully I see you guys again. Thank you so much for putting up with me. Try out Sayu. She's more than just a taxi. She's very good at healing, especially if you have constellations. I could see an argument for not building her, but she's an Energizer Bunny, and she heals the shit out you and can deal some damage. And at the very least, she can apply a weaken to the enemy so you can do more elemental damage. So yeah, anyways, hopefully you guys do enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you kindly for your time, and goodbye, my friends.